So today we're talking about boundaries, the two jobs of boundaries, and also we'll be mentioning self-esteem along the way. So first, the two jobs. So job number one, protection. Job number two, declaring value, which we will get to in a minute. First, function number one, protection. This is a well-known function for boundaries. Boundaries help to defend against threats. Not a lot more to it than that, but we'll go into a few examples. I'll give some comments. So, first example here, locking your door at night to defend against anyone breaking in. So, pretty common boundary. It's typically set because of the cost benefit of turning a few knobs to having added security for an entire night. Cost benefit is often a part of deciding whether or not to enforce a boundary. Refusing to spend time with someone. So this one's much more loaded. This could be more or less difficult to enforce depending on the source of the abuse. So if you're setting a boundary like this with a close friend who has become recently verbally abusive, that would be very different than setting it with a coworker who's always getting on your case. Boundaries can often have the unwelcome effect of blocking additional non-threatening interactions. So this applies to, like, if I was setting that boundary with a close friend, caring for this close friend, for example, or maybe I'm trying to resolve conflict with that coworker. Weighing the balance of missed opportunities for gained protection is a common task in boundary management. Another example would be withholding something to defend against resentment over how it is used. So money is one example here. Maybe a close friend has historically impulsive spending habits. Withholding money when they ask for it could protect me from resenting my close friend. Also, I might have an issue with being judgmental. I recommend therapy. Adjusting expectations to defend against disappointment. This is a more balanced version of what some of you may have heard of before as the quit before you can fail strategy, which is exactly how it sounds. If you quit, then you can't fail. Adjusting expectations, however, is really the only part of quitting that helps, and you don't even need to quit to do it. So this is a much more balanced version of that where you actually get the benefit without the harms of quitting. Another thing to note on this first function of boundaries is its connection to the past. Boundaries are only ever built as a response to past behavior. So, function number two, declaring value. So we cannot set a boundary around something unless we already believe it is valuable. This tells us quite a lot about people who struggle with boundaries, namely their struggle with self-esteem. Struggles with self-esteem often go along with the working to earn love trap that I've mentioned here before. That is, they learned early in life, if you are loved for what you do. And if you aren't loved, it's because you haven't done enough. Oftentimes people who believe this and also are not receiving love will cite their sources and say, well, I haven't made anything of myself, or I haven't accomplished enough, or I've been so difficult. All of these statements reinforce the idea that there is a reason I'm not getting love, and that reason is located in me and what I have done or failed to do. Any boundary someone who believes that tries to build will crumble at the first huff or puff of circumstance, being blown down by the suggestion that all of this happening out here is proof that there's nothing worth protecting in here. So the solution is actually a subtle one, but it has a major impact. So the reason we don't value something is because valuing that thing has never been effectively modeled for us, okay? If valuing ourselves was modeled for us as a child, we then assume that we are valued because we are valuable, right? If valuing ourselves was not modeled for us as children, we assume we are not valued because we are not valuable. Both ideas are wrong. Shocker! We are neither valued nor not valued. Is that right? Nor not valued. Because of our actual value. Think about it. Do you always value your children accurately? Your spouse, your boss, your friends? Of course not. In fact, you valuing or not valuing someone has nothing to do with them. It has to do with you. This brings us to a recurring big idea here at Raising Consciousness, which is this. The way we are treated says nothing about us and something about them. As much as we might like to think so, we do not value or love our children because they deserve it, even if they do. We love our children because we are loving. You are not ignored because you deserve it, but because they are ignorant. I know it's ignorant, but I was trying to show that it's related to the word ignore. As it turns out, you were not loved or unloved because of your lovability, but because of your parents' lovingness. We don't love or not love ourselves because of our lovability, but because of our lovingness. All humans are born with the innate ability to love. Typically, our model for loving others is challenged and molded by our interactions with the world. We get lots of feedback on that, and we update our model of loving others accordingly. But our model for loving others is a bit younger than our model for loving ourselves. At birth, infants literally don't know the difference between self and anything else. Everything is self for them. This means that all of the interactions around them become a part of their model for interacting with themselves. Furthermore, our model for how we treat ourselves is mostly invisible. We don't get a lot of feedback on it, and so we don't worry about updating it. For most of us, if our self-concept gets us through the day, it's good enough. This brings us to two important conclusions, plus one more. 1, our lovability is unrelated to the love we receive. 2, the love we receive is an expression of the lovingness of others and ourselves, if we love ourselves. And 3, we can update our model for loving ourselves using our model for loving others. And there's really no reason not to. And before you challenge yourself to provide evidence for why you deserve love, remember that that's completely outside the point. Nobody deserves love because love isn't a thing to be deserved. It's a thing to be received. I'm Adam Clucci, and we are Raising Consciousness. Hey guys, also check out this awesome promo that my friend Alicia put together for our episode next week, where we are going to be giving you a behind the chair look at what's going on in your counselor's head.
Hey everyone, Alicia Sainart here. Be sure to tune in to the Raising Consciousness channel next week, where I will give a behind the chair look into what's going on in a counselor's head. Then stay tuned the following week for part 2, where Adam and I will answer your questions live. Don't miss this opportunity to finally get behind the chair. Hope you have a great week.